Diesel found them hard to move. Pull, push, backwards, forward. Oh! The trucks groaned. We can't. We won't. Duck watched with interest. Diesel lost patience. He roared, gave a great heave. Trucks geared forward. Oh! They screamed, we can't, we won't. Some of their brakes snapped, and the gear jammed in the sleepers. Chuckled Duck. Diesel recovered and tried to push the trucks back, but they wouldn't move. Duck ran quietly round to collect the other trucks. Thank you for arranging these, Diesel. I must go now. Don't you want this lot? No, thank you. Diesel gulped. And I've taken all this trouble. Why didn't you tell me? You never asked me. Besides, said Duck, you were having such fun being Rev whatever it was you said. Goodbye.
He had to stop. Suddenly, he saw something. Bouncing buffers! Cried Percy. His driver hadn't seen the old chimney sink into the ground. The signal changed. Percy was so scared he steamed away as fast as he could. Anything else disappear? He slipped into the sidings and buffered up to the trucks. Spooky, stammered Percy. Suddenly, another building at the old mine sank into the ground. What was that? Shouted his driver. Double bouncing buffers! Shrieked Percy. He was so scared he lurched forward and rammed the truck. Naughty gnomes! Cried Percy. He steamed away faster than before, all the way back to Lower Tidmouth Station. But the hours passed. It grew dark and cold, and still no help had come. Suddenly, the twins spotted something strange through the mist. What's that? Called Donald. Is it the monster? Cried Douglas. For sure it is, answered Donald. It's not. It's us. It was Harvey and the breakdown crane. Donald and Douglas were relieved.
Then he looked along the main line. Peep, peep! He whistled in horror, for rushing straight towards him was Gordon with the express. Oh! Groaned Gordon. Get out of my way! Percy opened his eyes. Gordon had stopped with Percy's buffers a few inches from his own.
When Thomas was by himself, every sound and every shadow was spooky. He was beginning to feel very scared. There's no such things as ghosts, he said nervously. Who's there? Thomas was so busy looking for ghosts, he didn't watch where he was going. The chains felt like ghost fingers. Something's got me! Thomas wheeshed and set off an old steam whistle. The ghost whistle, said Thomas, and he raced away as fast as his wheels could carry him. The ghost engine is after me! Wonderful fun. Suddenly, a huge dump truck roared by. Max! Alfie cried. So that's Max, said Jack. Thomas was right. He is trouble. Look out, Jack, cried Alfie. Max stopped just in time. Jack refused to move. Stop bullying, said Jack bravely. Can't you take a joke? Max grumbled and dieseled away. Thank you, Jack, said Alfie. Soon, Percy's face was so cold an icicle hung from his nose. Oh, bother, Percy stuttered, but it didn't sound like Percy. It was so cold he could hardly make a sound. At last, James was on his way back to the sheds. In the fog, he saw shadows and strange and scary shapes. Scary Jack Frost, he whispered nervously. Pah! Hello, James, muttered Percy icily. Scary Jack Frost, cried James, and he raced away as fast as his wheels could carry him. He didn't stop until he got back to the sheds. Then something big and round and red drifted straight towards them. We're out of hot air, shouted a voice. Ah! cried James. What's happening? Crash! Bang! Wallop went the balloon and landed right on top of James. He was so scared he let out a huge burst of steam, which blew the balloon up again. The balloon rose into the air once more. Well done, James, called his driver. Your hot air did the trick. Oh, no, James, cried Thomas. You saved the hot air balloon. I didn't mean to, groaned James. Now it's sure to take our passengers. It was very dark and quiet, but not for long. Help! shouted the workmen, and they ran out. We started to dig at the block, but it grunted and moved, one said. Rubbish, said the foreman. It's not rubbish, it's big and alive. We're not going in there again. I don't want to go in. Neither do I, said his driver. But we must clear the line. Oh dear, puffed Henry. Then there was trouble. The block was indeed alive and very strong. It began to push the train backwards. Out of the tunnel came Henry. Then the trucks, and last of all, a large cross elephant. Well, I never did, cried the foreman. Night came. Toby looked anxiously around. Everything seemed rather spooky. Quite suddenly, he heard a strange wheezing sound. It's the ghost, he wailed. What ghost? His driver asked. It's the old warrior. He's come to hunt me down. Well, I'll tell you a story that'll make your funnel quiver, Rusty said. A long time ago, a little engine was returning home. It was a misty moonlit night. As the engine crossed the old iron bridge, he suddenly lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below. He was never found again. But many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full, they have seen the little engine trying to get home, but he never reaches the other side. Duncan whistled, and the sound echoed everywhere. Then ahead, he saw flickering lights. His driver knew they were only little insects that shine brightly at night, but to Duncan, they looked like an engine. Next, his driver secretly threw a rock from the cab into the ravine below. It's the ghost! Take me back, please!